So welcome everyone and thank you for attending today's Lunch and Learn session. My name is Richard Lorry and I am Head of Knowledge and Library Services at the North Cumbria Integrated Care Trust, and we work alongside Boost in offering these Lunch and Learn sessions. It's my pleasure today to welcome Jo Burke, who is the Nature and Wellbeing Officer for Northumberland Wildlife Trust, who's doing today's session on nature for health and wellbeing. These sessions are a space for health and care staff to come together to share experiences, learn something new relating to health and care, focus on quality improvement, and be signposted to further resources. There are just some protocols, and actually, if you could share the slides, Jo, I think these will be on there. But yes, if you could keep your webcams off during the session and also keep muted as well, that would be much appreciated. You can ask questions in the chat during the presentation or put any comments you'd like in there, but we will be having questions at the end as well. So if there's anything you particularly would like to ask, we'll pick that up at the end of the session. We also just ask that obviously you listen with respect and be present, and obviously pass on any information you get today, and also just to be aware that we do record these sessions, so these will be made available later, but just as I say, beware during this session that we will be recording. So if you do interact in the session itself, you will appear on the recording, but obviously if you would like to pick up with anything with Jo, she's going to put her contact details up at the end, so you can also do that. So without further ado, Jo, I'll hand over to you.
Hey, thank you so much. Yes, hello, I'm Jo Burke. I'm the Nature and Wellbeing Officer for Northumberland Wildlife Trust, and thank you for joining me today. So just to kind of cover what we're going to go over, first of all, it's going to be a bit of a whirlwind intro to Northumberland Wildlife Trust and how important nature is to our mental and physical health. We're also, secondly, kind of looking into how to improve access and knowledge around how nature helps across the North East. We are developing a training package and a nature health network and community of practice. So we need your support and knowledge to do this in the right and meaningful way to reach and empower people in the best possible way. We do have a bit of an interactive survey at the end, which will take about 10 minutes, and hopefully we'll have time still for about 5 minutes chat. There will be a link at the end as well to the larger survey, and we'd love your kind of interaction with that as well. So just quickly, a little bit about Northumberland Wildlife Trust. We are dedicated to saving wildlife and wild places and inspiring people to value nature, improving biodiversity and protecting nature reserves in the North East. We have over 80 reserves, so we have a really large conservation and recovery team, but also we have extensive community and education programs for engagement and awareness. We protect and restore wild places while pioneering new ways to connect to communities, especially those experiencing disadvantage, with the wellbeing benefits of nature. From social prescribing, partnerships to co-designing peer support models, we are striving to integrate the natural environment into the local health system. Our program combines conservation expertise with creative community-led approaches that promote physical and mental health, reduce isolation, and build resilience. We believe access to nature is a right and a powerful, underused tool for advancing health equity and equality. First of all, a lovely slide of probably what we all know and understand, but our modern lives are associated with chronic stress, reduced physical activity, and often the feeling of loneliness and isolation prevails. All of this can take a serious toll on both our physical and mental health, not just for individuals, but for communities, society overall. Here are some depressing stats of the state that we're surrounded in. Deprivation and social and health injustice, in particular to the North East, has meant some of the lowest health stats in the UK. And also remembering intersectionality, that creating complex compound disadvantages for individuals, groups, and communities. Some of these stats are from Mind, Mental Health Facts and Statistics, Mental Health UK Burnout Report in 2025, the Newcastle Director of Public Health Annual Report, Office of National Statistics and Sports England Active Live survey. So what does health and wellbeing look like for the Wildlife Trust? We have a goal by 2030 that nature will be playing a more significant role in helping keeping people healthy and reducing health equity and equality. Nature, and part of this is nature and recovery and function in ecosystem, meaning accessible doorstep access to biodiverse spaces, clean water, plentiful food, cooling spaces, safe air to breathe, protection from flooding. Currently, 47% of people do not currently have access to green spaces within 15 minutes walk of home. Also, we're looking at people thriving in connected communities where they have a say, schools that teach in and about nature, a job that contributes to a greener future, high quality home, wildlife friendly places to walk and cycle along, and so living pro-nature lives. And lastly, we're looking at the natural health service alongside the National Health Service. People turning to nature to calm minds, exercise bodies, preventing unnecessary ill health, and leaning less on the National Health Service. A little more about our Natural Health Service. There are multiple sources and scientific research and evidence that contact with and connection to nature is linked to a range of positive mental and physical health outcomes. This could be contact with the local green blue spaces, including parks, playgrounds, beaches, lakes, and woodlands. They can enhance both mental and physical health, whilst also lowering rates of illness and death. They offer psychological relaxation and stress reduction, encourage social interaction, promote physical activity, and help limit exposure to air pollution, noise, and extreme heat. These positive impacts on health and well-being have inspired the phrase natural health service. Seeing from this slide alone, it ranges greatly from physical benefits from reducing blood pressure and helping us be less sedentary, supporting the aim of the national guidelines of reaching 150 minutes of physical activity, and then to also our mental health, lowering cortisol levels, calming our fight, flight, and freeze response, to engaging a parasympathetic nervous system of rest and recovery, really impacting the happiness and reducing social isolation. The World Health Organization describes our greatest source, that nature is our greatest source of health and well-being. And thinking on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the base physiological needs now include our home, our environment, and so our nature, and that it's a core foundation to healthy lives and biological survival. Just given a bit of a green break, simply looking at greenery can enhance well-being. Studies have shown that we relax most seeing green and blue colours, and that our brains find it pleasing to see fractals, a repetitive pattern that's found in nature. Just 5 minutes in a greener environment can improve our cortisol levels. A simple change in environment, even in the office, could help. So bringing in those extra plants, taking notice outside your window, watch more natural documentaries, or even changing your screensaver to a babbling brook could make a difference. And like most things, if you improve the quality and quantity and regularity, you will gain much more reward. This also applies to time and nature. A fantastic new study by Sudermack and Kern earlier this year compared an hour's walk in the city to one in the forest. The results were amazing. The forest walk showed significant growth in the hippocampal brain plasticity. A walk, the air, the greenery, the company can actually change brains. The hippocampal is associated with memory and navigation, but also plays a vital role in regulating the stress response. Interestingly, in the same study, it also showed increase in structure of the amygdala in the participants who took the city walk. This is associated with an increase of fear and anxiety. The amygdala is part of the limbic system and is crucial to processing emotions, particularly fear and aggression. So just to kind of start to kind of end this little presentation is just some nice imagery of work that we've done at the Northumberland Wildlife Trust, showing examples from different projects from our Better with Nature, working with people with poor health and multiple disadvantages, our Next Door Nature programme, which is very much a programme which works from the grassroots with communities and individuals to improve their local areas, but also take action for nature. And then access to our to our reserves, which is gaining more improvement in access and looking at barriers, but also giving more access to green and blue spaces. But these examples also show particular benefits to well-being, and it also engages our senses and allows us to be present and relaxed. Just to go over some of those examples, could include kind of sit spots, sound mapping, mindful and social walks, grounding exercises in nature, cold water therapy and wild swimming, connecting with others outdoors, using textual sensory activity, creativity and nature and exploring new things, skill sharing and learning and experiencing things together. Particularly, we were interested with kind of peer ethos, looking at reflective practices, journaling to support well-being, and learning techniques and simple tools to support well-being and mental health. Also, just about all of these activities in nature use brainstem calming techniques, especially great for children. This is a simple way to move people from hyper anxiety states to the calmer thinking brain by the use of pattern, repetitive, rhythmical activity. And this was looked into by psychiatrist Dr. Bruce Perry. So things like walking in nature, drumming, music, repetitive works, even kind of looking at nature mandalas and artwork in nature. And combining these aspects of nature, physicality, connectedness, mindfulness really creates a strong basis for supporting mental and physical well-being and health, and helping to reduce health risks, become more resilient, and can also support us in a pathway to recovery, or if we can't achieve that, towards balance and giving solace and respite. If we spend meaningful time to take notice of nature, so the everyday wilderness on our doorstep, we begin to notice more from the changing cycles of life and seasons. We become more invested and connected to our surroundings, our bodies and emotions. Research shows that the closer we get to nature, the happier we are, and the more worthwhile life seems. And we are willing to take action to help our wildlife and environment. And just to highlight some key resources, which are really great. You can have a look at the Wildlife National Health Service report. There's Nature Connection handbooks. The NHS Green Social Prescribing Toolkit is really great. Handbooks for nature on prescription. There's also a wealth of information from the National Academy of Social Prescribing on green social prescribing, and there's some really good kind of evidence up there. So I'll also send that later on with information and references from the presentation. So just to round up this bit, thank you for bearing with me. Just to kind of reiterate that we're also championing and supporting nature's health and wellbeing across Northumberland, North Tyneside and Newcastle. So wider than our charity events and activity and programmes, we're hoping to engage and highlight and champion other kind of activities and organisations and access to nature. I'm keen to connect, link up opportunities for individuals and groups and communities, and create collaborations, partnerships and actions to develop diverse and better opportunities for access and practice with nature for health and wellbeing. So I'd like to try, if people are willing, to have a go at a little bit of a survey. There is a longer survey that can be emailed out, and I'd really appreciate if you could also look into that. But we need your feedback on the need for nature health training. How can we develop a meaningful way of helping to embed nature into our everyday life and professional service? So I think there is copied in the chat the link to the survey. the Mentee survey. Has everyone got access to that? It's okay. Fantastic, thank you. So I'm going to, hopefully people are used to the Mentee survey. If not, I will share the screen so you can get a kind of a live update of people's responses. So if you do follow that link in the chat, and I'll just go to that survey now to share. Okay, so the first question is, how do you feel when spending time in nature? There should be a box that pops up to your right-hand side with the ability to pop your answer in. Once you've submitted, you can resubmit an answer. And just let me know if anyone needs help in chat or to go slower. At some points, you might need to move on your slide as well. Great. I'm going to move on to the next slide. Thank you for your answers. Some really beautiful kind of feelings of calmness, peacefulness, tranquility, fresh, restful. So moving on to the next one, and bearing that in mind about how you feel and how you'd like other people to feel within nature, and the ability to. So what barriers have you noticed for people to meaningfully access nature? Again, you might need to move on your slide if you haven't got the right box to your right-hand side. Great. So there's things which repeat here, which is great to know about your own service users, people that you work with, even yourself and family members. So we've got location, time, transport, distance, health, so finding somewhere to go, lack of time, mobility. Thank you. So moving on. What would be the 3 most important reasons for your involvement in nature and wellbeing training? So to speak confidently about how time and nature can benefit health and wellbeing, to be able to refer to key research and statistical examples, to be able to signpost others to support and opportunities, to support my own nature and connection wellbeing, to help support and champion nature for health and wellbeing, to deliver nature and wellbeing activities, or you may not see the need for nature and wellbeing training. This is a multi-choice as well, so feel free to kind of, we'll pick 3. For those who can't access the Mentimeter, you could always pop in the chat as well while looking on the screen. Sorry, I forgot to mention this earlier. If you do have a key response that you'd like to share. So moving on to the next slide. Next question. But you can vote on these examples as well. So we've got understanding the need, our current position, new and key research and statistical examples of benefits to nature, What is nature connection and wilder ways of well-being, and how can they help? A trauma-informed practice in nature-based activities, step-by-step guides for activities, nature connection and mindfulness, a local database and access information of nature activities and organisations, overcoming barriers to accessing nature, funding, signposting for individuals and groups, supporting burnout, neurodivergence and nature, queer ecology, and taking action for nature and influencing decision makers. Thank you, this one seems to be working. And if you have noticed something that's not included here, do put it in the chat. So I'm going to move on because I just realised the time. So the next slide is about what format of training is best for yourself and your colleagues or organisation. Classroom-based, in-person, online-based course, outdoor-based training combining nature-based activities for 2 hours, say, 4 times, hybrid classroom and practical away day, self-led course for questions and coursework, short online quiz with leaflet resources. Right. Next slide is about the times, just to get an idea of people's commitment and capacity. There's 2-hour one-off training, 2 hours a week for 4 to 6 weeks, under 40 minutes, full day. Brilliant, thank you. So thanks again, and if you can return to your Teams meeting window, we can just finish off the meeting with any chat or a discussion. I think we've got a couple of minutes. Apologies that we haven't got longer.
Oh, that's great. Thank you, Jo. Yeah, if anybody has got any questions now, do feel free to pop your hands up or pop everything in the chat. Or, as I say, I'm sure Jo will be happy to answer any questions in the future by email. I was just wondering, Jo, how long have you been doing this? What's the background to this work?
Really, we've been doing a kind of work in collaboration with recovery colleges, addiction services, a shelter, a number of different organisations, Mind as well, for a fair few years. But we've had real concentration in the last year with the change to government as well, and the NHS, and really trying to champion nature for health and well-being, and really realising that there has been a gap, and it's such an intrinsic thing that we all take for granted, I think, as well. But I'm probably also preaching to the converted here, I think. But thank you for today, and sorry I was a bit more nervous than I thought I'd be.
No, it was good. It was really good, actually. And to be fair, some of it certainly chimed home with me. I think, to be fair, sometimes, yeah, after a stressful week or whatever, just getting out into the greenery or actually, you mentioned watching wildlife documentaries, it just take you away, and I think it does help. It just calms and everything. So yeah, certainly struck a chord. So no, thank you for that, Jo. Thanks very much. It was really good. So
Thank you everyone for the survey as well. Thank you so much.
yeah, no, it was very good. Thank you. So yeah, thank you to everybody for coming as well. If you could give us your feedback on today's session, you'll get an evaluation link in the next few days if you signed up for this session. It's a very brief survey, just a couple of minutes of your time. So, but it's very useful for that, for us to know that. And as well, if there is a topic or speaker you'd like to see in the future, or even if you'd like to do a presentation yourself on some innovations that you're involved in, if you could just email us at info@boost.org.uk, we'd be happy to hear from you. So as I say, thank you all very much for coming. But as I say, Jo, thanks again for delivering the session. It was really good. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Pleasure.